2, 3, 4.
Run up your engines! I've been a mechanic for the last 52 years, and people depend on me giving honest reviews of cars, so here's my honest review of a 2020 Toyota Corolla Hybrid. It's the first time you can get a Toyota Corolla in a hybrid version, different than the regular Corolla. Although it looks pretty much the same as a Corolla, this is their hybrid version. First time they've had it out. Now, if you want a four-door hybrid car, this might be the car for you. Gets phenomenal gas mileage. This thing in town, I'm getting 56 miles a gallon in town. Now, that's 20 miles a gallon more than you get with the same car with a conventional gasoline engine, a regular Corolla. So it does get phenomenal gas mileage. Now, sure, it does this at the expense of acceleration and horsepower. Combined, this thing has 121 horsepower, where a conventional one has about 48 horsepower more, almost 50 horsepower more. So if you want speed, you would get the conventional Corolla, not the hybrid. Now, some people who road test these things whine, say they're too slow. But with 121 horsepower, that's still 11 more horsepower than my 94 Celica. Sure, it's not a race car, but you get 56 miles a gallon driving in town. You can't beat that. And yes, it's a nice looking car. Priuses, people either love them or hate them. This is a conventional car. Now, the Prius does get a little bit better gas mileage because the coefficient of drag of this thing is 0.28, which is pretty efficient, but the coefficient of drag of the Prius is 0.24. So it's a little bit more efficient. Truth be told, as far as I'm concerned, this is a much better looking vehicle. It is an economy car. This is just a hubcap. They look really nice. It's not alloy wheels. It's a hubcap. Like I say, they look perfectly fine, but it is an economy vehicle. But the hybrid Corolla is a very well-built car. Check this out. Major sources of parts: Japan, 100%. Final assembly: Japan. Engine parts, Japan. Transmission parts, Japan. This is a 100% Japanese built vehicle. And as I've always said, you want to get the best people building them. The best Japanese cars, as far as I'm concerned, are made in Japan. As I've said in previous videos, hey, I wouldn't buy a Mercedes-Benz, but if I had to, I'd want one made in Germany, because the ones not made in Germany, not as good. Well, this baby was made, designed, built, everything in Japan. I've owned Toyotas made in Japan, made in Kentucky, and made in Cambridge, Ontario. And I do have to say, the ones made in Japan were the absolute best cars I ever had. My wife's Lexus was made in Japan, but I do have to say, my Matrix, it was made in Cambridge, Ontario. It's still a well-built vehicle. But I do have to say, the best Japanese cars are made in Japan. That's where this baby was made. Now, whether you buy a hybrid or not is your decision. This hybrid is about $3,500 more than the non-hybrid Corolla, but it does get about 20 more miles per gallon gas mileage than the conventional one because it's a hybrid. Now, this is a true hybrid. It has an Atkinson cycle gasoline engine and electric motor. It's not an electric car. Now, this thing, you can actually run it on pure electricity, but not for more than just a few miles. It isn't set up for that. It has a nickel battery hiding under the back seats, which is for boosting power, regenerating energy when you brake, that regenerates the power, and then you can use it when you take off. But it's not a particularly large battery. It's a 6.5 amp hour battery. 6.5. To show you a comparison, the Tesla Model 3 is a 230 amp hour battery. It's an electric car made to run on just electricity. This is a hybrid car. It's a boost, regenerate power. It's not made to run on that battery for very long. It's a pure hybrid design. The Atkinson cycle engine has less horsepower than a conventional, regular, normal piston engine, so it puts out less horsepower, but it's more efficient. It gets better gas mileage. As we see under the hood, here's the Atkinson cycle engine, and then the electric motor is over here. This baby was made for pure efficiency. 0 to 60 miles an hour. This thing is about 2 seconds slower than the same Toyota Corolla that has the 2-liter gasoline-only engine that isn't a hybrid. But if you're the type of person who doesn't care about that 2 seconds, but you care about getting 20 more miles per gallon gas mileage, this is probably the car for you. Now, yes, hybrids are very complex cars. I know. I work on them. I had to go buy thousands of dollars of tools I didn't have before. Electric gloves so I don't get electrocuted, because this battery is a base of about 200 volts. They are harder to work on they do cost more money to repair. But on the other hand, they are Toyotas. They generally don't break down until they get 150, 200, 250,000 miles. You can get quite a bit of life out of these things. Of course, personally, I'm too cheap to buy one. I paid $350 for this Celica, and you know, it still runs like a clock with 240,000 miles on it. So I'm just too cheap to buy a hybrid car. They cost more money, and of course, as they do age, the repairs are going to be a lot more expensive than a conventional car. But I do have to say, all my customers that bought Toyota Priuses brand new, every single man and woman that did that, they were all very happy with the vehicle over time. They kept it for years and years and years, and they lasted, and they worked quite well. So if you don't mind the technology, and you're not like me and you're going to keep a car for 25, 30 years or more, hey, you're probably not going to think about long term. And speaking of technology, this baby's full of technology. Check this out. This is the manual, and it's just for the navigation and multimedia system. It's 250 pages long. And being a Toyota, they all work. Now me, the only thing I wanted to do was to sync my phone with Spotify so I could listen to my own music while I'm traveling around. Well, it took about 40 seconds to sync it with this system. Check it out, this baby was really easy to operate. Toyota has a very good interface. Very simple. The buttons make total sense. See how easy that is? I synced it last night when I picked this thing up. This morning I put it in, it still remembers the song I had on it. R.I.P. to Rocky Erickson. He conked out last year, about a year ago. And of course all the dash readings are high tech too. I mean, you can see if it's recharging a battery. Everything's set up through this. You can run it on a battery setting if you want, but really, it's not going to go very far. Now, there's nice comfy seats. It's an economy car, but it's got a nice black and silver. Seats have a reasonable amount of space in them. Nice armrest with cup holders. Pop the old trunk. As you can see, nice deep trunk. Got a lot of space in it. Nice looking car. And like I said, hey, the wheels look nice. Even though they're just plastic covers, they still look good from far away. And look, Ma, no fan belts. There's no fan belts down anywhere because it doesn't use fan belts. Everything's electrified. No fan belts needed. Generator, everything are built inside the transmission case. And since it's basically all Toyota Prius technology, this stuff's been out for over 2 decades. It's pretty well bulletproof. Close the hood and take it for a ride. Okay, we'll push the button and hey, starts right up. You don't hear anything, but that's because it's hybrid. It's going on the electric motor now. The only thing you hear is a little whine of the electric motor. Now once you put it in drive here, we're going to start driving. That turns the motor on. And it's pretty seamless. You didn't feel a clunk or anything. And even though it doesn't have that many horsepower, watch. It still can move down the road. It's not that slow. And as you're cornering, it's got a nice tight corner. For a car this small, it's got a decent ride, you know. It doesn't ride like my wife's Lexus, but hey, it's a small wheelbase car. It is fun to drive. And like I said, when you step on the gas, it still moves. It's not a race car, but it's not slow. And they are rather quiet. I just had to beep on a couple walking in the middle of the street in this pandemic because they couldn't hear me coming. No, for those you really into gas mileage, hey, it even gives you an eco score after you drive. You know, if you get 100, you do really good. Well, I only got a 38. I'm not an eco driver, but I do have to say, this thing is fun to drive around. So if you're looking for a 4-door sedan that can get 55 miles a gallon in town and maybe about 52 on the highway, you might give this thing a serious thought. It is all built, designed, and put together in Japan. I might even think about one of these in a few years when I can get a good deal on a used one. Then I could think about fiddling with my old Celica, which I'm contemplating turning into an all-electric car. So now you know the truth about the first Toyota Corolla Hybrid they ever made. So you can make a wise decision if you're thinking about buying a new car soon. So if you never want to miss another one of my new car repair videos, remember to ring that bell.